Today's video is sponsored by NordVPN, which is the only VPN to obtain a perfect score from PCMag, and is also what I use myself on a daily basis. For a limited time, you can get a huge 75% discount by going to nordvpn.com/censoredgaming or by checking out the link in the description. NordVPN keeps all of your internet data secure and will also allow you to surf the web as if you are located in different countries. This means that you can bypass any filters or regional restrictions, as well as ensure your data is always kept safe when browsing or using things like public Wi-Fi. NordVPN is also available for mobile, and your account comes with up to 6 simultaneous connections at once. Again, for a limited time, you can get all of this for only $2.99 a month. That's a huge 75% discount, plus you even get 1 month for free. Just check out the link in the description or go to nordvpn.com/censoredgaming and use the code censoredgaming at checkout to get started today. Like Ratchet & Clank, Jak and Daxter and more, the Japanese version of Spyro the Dragon has some quite big and interesting changes made, feeling that this would make the game more suitable for the Japanese market. An example of this can even be found on the game's cover art, with the Japanese version of Spyro being made to look much more cute compared to the US and European versions. Spyro's appearance would remain unchanged in the actual game though, but that's not to say that there weren't many changes made there as well. When the game was being playtested, the developers received a large number of complaints from Japanese testers about motion sickness due to the 3D camera. These reports caused concerns that Japanese gamers may be more susceptible to motion sickness, perhaps due to not being as used to the 3D games that had only just started to become popular. So the developers made some big changes to the camera for the Japanese market. Over in Japan, the camera is not only much more zoomed out, but it also no longer follows Spyro around the stage, instead keeping a fixed perspective. This has led to much harsh criticism though, due to the fixed camera making it hard to see where you're going. The camera also now fades in and out when Spyro enters levels, walks into a whirlwind or falls down holes, whilst in the English release he will perform a U-turn flying animation. Perhaps to compensate for the camera change, Spyro also now moves vastly slower in Japan, with his charging speed being roughly the same as the English version's regular walking speed. An interesting feature exists in the Japanese version however, where you'll be able to revert some of these changes if you were to first complete the game and get 120%. This unlocks a feature where by holding L1 and R1 on the title screen, you can restore Spyro's speeds to be the same as the English version, and if you use the dash command, the camera will now follow behind Spyro as well. Even in this mode, however, the camera will not follow you unless you're dashing. Further changes made to the Japanese version include giving Spyro a number of high-pitched sound effects during gameplay. Alongside this, the Japanese version was fully voiced in Japanese.
Well done, Spyro! Keep up the good work and I know you'll fulfill your destiny!
Destiny? I just want to kick some—
Just toast those enemies and collect the treasure!
戦いに関しては誰にも負けない。戦い方ならいくらでも教えてやるぞ。
でもやられちゃったよね。
だから油断するなということだ。
An interesting change was also made to the level entrances, with them now being numbered in the Japanese version. Each world's normal levels are numbered 1, 2, 3, boss levels are numbered 4, and flight levels numbered 5. This gives Japanese players more of a guide on how to proceed and what order they may want to take on levels. There exists an even bigger change made to the Japanese version designed to help players along, and this is the introduction of dozens of signposts within levels that, when flamed, give players tips on how to proceed. There are many of these all throughout the game, and one of them even reveals to players how to open up the secret level at the start of the game. English gamers would instead have to listen carefully to something that one of the dragons say much later on in the game, and then work out that they need to go back to the start and jump on the stones in front of the waterfall in a certain order. Sparks, the little dragonfly that accompanies Spyro, always stays green in the Japanese version too, whilst in English, Sparks will change from gold to blue to green as you take damage. In Japan, the only way to know how much damage you have taken is to pay close attention to the small sparkles that are behind him. The reason for this change was that over in Japan, Spyro the Dragon was compatible with the Pocket Station, a Japanese-only peripheral that was similar in nature to the Dreamcast VMU. The Pocket Station would trigger a total of 30 dragonfly eggs to appear within levels, and when collected they could be hatched in the Pocket Station minigame and raised. The Pocket Station dragonfly can then be imported back into the game where it will replace Sparks, and it can also result in Spyro being able to take extra hits from enemies. The Japanese version of the game also has some changes that resemble censorship, although further details on why these changes were made made are not known. In the Japanese version, enemies with swords no longer have the ends of their weapons covered in a red colour which resembles blood. However, strangely, this change was also made to the European versions as well, with the US release being the only one where the enemies have blood-tinged blades. In fact, the European versions of the game would even remove the red blood-like colour from the end of the bull's horns too, which was a change that wasn't made in either the US or Japan. Most of these changes would be carried forward to the Japanese sequel, including the camera changes, Spyro's reduced movement speed, the signpost, and the Pocket Station minigame. Interestingly though, the sequel would allow gamers to change the camera back to the English version via the options menu, despite being enabled by default. However, unfortunately for Insomniac, none of these alterations helped Spyro to gain much success in the Japanese market, and for this reason, the third game and most later titles in the series would go completely unreleased over in Japan. In fact, the new Spyro Reignited Trilogy remake has also currently not been localized into Japanese, and there has been no announcement of this happening in the future from the devs either. What do you think about the Japanese version of Spyro? Please let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and a big thanks to NordVPN again for sponsoring today's video and for supporting what we are doing on the channel. NordVPN helps you to stay anonymous on the web, keeps your data safe and secure, and also allows you to surf the web as if you are located in different countries around the world. For a limited time, save a whopping 75% by checking out the link in the description, and consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos on how video games and other media are changed around the world. Until next time, thank you for watching.